Happy Tuesday. I got a little cocktails and chaos for you today. And yes, if you notice anything different, I definitely I failed. I couldn't do it without the extensions. I just feel so much better. This is me. I didn't feel like myself. Anybody that knows me knows me. This is my security blanket. But with that being said, they are clip-in, so sometimes you'll see me without them in still, but I just feel so much better. So anyways, and you guys, a lot of you guys knew I wouldn't last long anyways. I knew I wouldn't last long. I was cringing having to do videos and take pictures and just walk in public without my long hair. Yes, I'm that girl. So anyways, happy Tuesday, cocktails and chaos. This is water. If I drank cocktails for every video, I would become an alcoholic. So, a couple little things before I go into today's little chaos. This Friday, we're filming Battle of the Sexes. We're gonna have some men and some women, and just have battle it out, Battle of the Sexes. So that's gonna be fun. And then Monday, I am filming my the good, the bad, and the ugly in my industry or your industry. I am filming that on Monday with some peeps, and I have been waiting for that. I'm really excited for that one. So Monday, we're filming that on Monday. So for today, I have some questions that I actually had a couple girlfriends say they wanted me to do on a podcast. And a couple actually have been in messaging with some people since doing this. They have like, oh, you should do a podcast on this, or maybe bring this up on a podcast. So this is kind of like a mix of my friends and people asking me to do it. So first one, red flags I ignored. One for me is somebody that doesn't have friends. If they don't have like close friends, they only have acquaintances, they just don't have any close friends, that should have been a red flag for me. I have two people in my life that I had met later in life too. One was my narcissistic ex. That should have been a red flag for me, a wake-up call that he had no friends. The only friends that he had were acquaintances, and they were of course all bar people because he was a bar whore and lived at the bar. So but he didn't have any, like, whenever we went or did anything, we would like meet up with my friends, but he never had like friends, just didn't have any freaking friends. Then around the same, like right before that, I had met this girl, this is when I still lived in New York, that I became good friends with, and she didn't have any friends. And my girlfriends watching this, they know who I'm talking about. I brought her into my friend group. Like, we became so close, like sisters, like loved her to death. But as time went on, about a year later, I ended up letting her work for me for my business, and she did have access to my bank and everything, and she drained my bank account. And then, long story short, come to find out, I wasn't the only one that she had done that to. People were coming out of the woodwork, messaging me, sending me even. She was arrested for doing it to a business before. So that was her MO. That's why she didn't have any friends, because I guess she faked getting close to people so she could steal from you. So that's my biggest red flag. The biggest red flag that I ignored that I shouldn't have is somebody that does not have close friends. Like, I have friends from kindergarten. I have friends from 30 years ago, friends that I grew up with that I'm still close with. Somebody doesn't have close friends, that is a huge red flag. So another one. This is actually one of mine that I used to always say, and me and a couple of my girlfriends say this. I'm 49. If I could go back to my 30s, the one thing that I would do different is I would have started laser facials, chemical peels on my face, my neck, my chest, early on in my 30s. I don't think I would have started Botox or anything like that. I think that's a little bit too young, although I know they really push it nowadays. They call it baby Botox, I think. But I may have started even Botox maybe in my mid to late 30s. I actually didn't start Botox until my very early 40s. But that's one thing that I would have done different if I could go back to my 30s would be that. Things men think women want, but we don't. So I've had a few friends that have pointed these out. So men, shirtless selfies, just anywhere, like more so probably on dating apps, but even we see a lot of that on social media, like as their profile picture. If you're single and you want a woman, I would rethink it. That's a turn off. Shirtless selfies, gym selfies, gym mirror selfies, big turn off. This is one me and my girlfriends have just recently talked about in the last week, the fish photos. That doesn't bother me, but a lot of women, I don't know, like they hate the fish photos. I don't know why, what it is. I think maybe it's because it's such a big thing now. You see a lot of, fish photos, and this isn't even from living in Florida. I used to see it all the time too when I lived in New York, but I don't know what it is about the fish photos. They never bothered me, but a lot of women say fish photos. Alpha male bios, that is a huge one. It almost sounds like you're probably not a masculine man if you're over the top in your bio being too alpha. And this was one that somebody said, saying I'm brutally honest. That definitely is a turnoff, because there's almost like an arrogance to that, saying that. And no woman wants an arrogant man, an egotistical man. So I definitely agree with that one. Unpopular opinions. Dinner dates are overrated. Absolutely not. They're not overrated. I definitely can see in the beginning when you first meet somebody, going out to these high dinner dates, high cost dinner dates, whatever. I get that. Maybe save it for if you keep on going. I still think you should take a woman out to a dinner. Not that you have to spend $1 million, but I think bars, I don't think you should ever take a woman to a bar for the first dates. Coffee would be good. Coffee shop, if you want to kind of feel it out. Coffee, I would do coffee. Or a wine bar. I think wine bars are a little bit different. They're a little bit more, like the nicer end, higher end cocktail bars or wine bar. I could see that happening. So dinner dates are not overrated at all. Ghosting isn't always evil. There's a fine line, because if somebody's being creepy or weird, you're definitely going to ghost them. But if you're just ghosting them because you didn't find them attractive, that's immature. I say have balls, buck up to the plate, don't ghost, don't show up and tell them why you're not going to show up. Unless, again, creepiness, ghost away. Soulmates aren't found, they're built. I don't agree with that. I don't agree with that. I think some can be built. I know a lot of people, especially back in the day, like arranged marriages, or people got married so young. You do go through a lot of trials and tribulations, and it seems like they don't get. It's not until they get older till where they are past all the ups and downs, where they've built something, a foundation. So on that end, I can see, but I do believe soulmates are found. Dan and I, it was kind of like an instant magnetic thing, and he is my best friend. We are best friends. We are definitely soulmates, and it was pretty instant. And that is the first time I've ever had that. So I probably didn't believe in that until him, but fine line there. Not everyone should get married, of course. That's a no-brainer. It's not for everybody. You don't need it, that piece of paper. Some friendships expire. I have so much I could say on this one. But for sake of time, I won't go into my personal experiences, but absolutely some friendships expire. I'm sure you've all had friendships that have expired for one reason or the other, but yes, I 100% agree that some should expire if they haven't yet too. So, let's see here. Questions you're too afraid to ask. Somebody actually messaged, this one didn't come from a friend, somebody messaged me this one. Why am I always attracted to unavailable people? Well, you have a type, and I guess it's just probably like that magnetic force that I guess pulls you in to these unavailable people. But this again goes down to my whole cocktails and Cupid thing, where not basing it on initial physical attraction and going off of compatibility and connection first. So if you're always attracted to the unavailable people, it's probably because you're going after more of a physicality than mental things. So that's my opinion on that. Should I text first? This came from a woman. I'm old school. I'm a big believer that a man should be the pursuer. I know a lot of you will agree and some of you won't, and that's fine. This is just my opinion, but I'm a big believer that the man should chase, the man should be the pursuer of the beginning of a relationship or whatnot. So should a woman text first? No, I really don't think you should, unless there's some kind of different dynamic behind that where you kind of maybe knew each other first and then kind of stepped into this role. That I could see, but if you're right off the bat getting into like dating, no, men should text or call first. Let's see here. Oh, does anyone actually enjoy networking? I think people enjoy networking for the variety and getting out and meeting new people. I don't do much networking anymore because it didn't really do much for me in terms of business networking. I met great people. I guess it also depends on your nature of your business. The nature of my business is a little different, so that could be why. But for me, it wasn't. I know a lot of you guys love it, and you guys go to all these networking things all the time. But I know for even a lot of my friends that do it, yeah, they maybe have gotten some business, but a lot of it they go for like the getting out and the social, networking up part, the social aspect of it. Which, hey, more power to you. Socialize, meet new people. Nothing wrong with that. Confessions with work chaos. Hence the good, the bad, and the ugly in my industry that I'm filming on Monday. I think it should be talked about. I think any kind of dating drama, relationship drama, family drama, work drama, I feel like you need to get it off your chest. I feel like it should be talked about and it shouldn't be held inside. Like, everybody goes through it. Why hold it on? That's why I'm going balls to the wall on my good, the bad, and the ugly, because I just don't give a F anymore. So that's where I'm at with the work chaos. So yes, I think confessions. I think confessions are a good thing, whether they're anonymous or not. I think everybody should release. So that's my take on that. Dating rules we're told that are complete bullshit. Never text first is one of them, which we just dabbled in that. And then the next one is wait 3 days to call. So I think that kind of goes hand in hand. I don't think there's a timeline. I don't think you should wait 3 days. If you felt a connection and you're feeling it and you want to call that girl or text that girl, do it. We don't care about waiting 3 days. That's like somebody made up 3 days, like to feel better about themselves. Like count 3 seconds before, you go through the stop sign. No, you don't got to wait 3 days. If you're feeling it and you felt it from her, you call that girl. Call her, text her. There is no 3-day rule. That's my opinion. Playing hard to get. So this is also a fine line. I've had so many conversations with girlfriends of mine that ask about this and what my opinion is on this. And playing hard to get, I don't like to really call it that, but it is what it is. I don't think you should make yourself too available, men or women. If you make yourself too available, it's a turnoff. It shows lack of confidence. It shows that it could show that you're desperate. It's just not a good look. Being always available, especially right away in the beginning, is a turnoff. Men want that chase, I feel. Women, we don't want that chase because, like I said, I feel that men should be the pursuers. But my opinion, men want that challenge and that chase. And in the long run, it's going to build a better connection, believe it or not. And I know I'm not just talking on my ass, because I've literally talked to other guys about this and they agree, even my own man. So men like the chase. Do not be too available, women. Do not be up their ass right from the get-go. Do not fawn all over them. Let them be the ones that fawn all over you first. I do believe it's a two-way street. I do believe once you are dating and in a relationship, I do think it's a two-way street where you should fawn over each other, affection, attention, abso-freaking-lutely. But in the beginning, women, do not be so available to men. This is why these men go bam, 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 on the next, onto the next, onto the next, onto the next. Again, my opinion, some of you guys are going to be like, this bitch doesn't know what she's talking about. And some of you guys can be like, you know what, you're spot on, spot on. So I know I'm going to get both ends of the spectrum on that, but do not be too available to men. Let them chase you. Play a little hard to get. Then you'll know if they're worth your time sticking around, because if they're trying, then you know that they're into you. So that's my take on that. Opposites attract. I am a big believer that opposites attract, and that's what really I think it's where you get the best relationships. For example, I'm crazy. I'm a redhead. Like I'm loud. I'm ADD. I'm just like all over the place. I can't sit still. I'm this, that. I'm just like all over the place. Whereas Dan he's the reserved one, the calm one, the level-headed thinking one, and I'm not. And honestly, our relationship works. I would not even know what to do without him. And I like to think, are you out here, babe? I know you were out here. I like to think that my craziness brings a whole new love of life to you. Is that correct?
Yes.
He said yes, if you couldn't hear him. So that's my take on that. I think opposites attract. I think if you both are exactly the same in everything, it's boring. You have no, you need a little chaos. I'm sorry, but you do. You need a little chaos to keep things going and pumping. So I'm a big believer that opposites attract. You obviously have to have compatibility. That is not to be mixed up with compatibility. You have to have compatibility with things in life, hobbies and, extracurricular activities, but opposites do attract. Love conquers all? Nope. Do not believe that. Love is not everything. If you are lacking certain things in a relationship, then love does not conquer. If you're hurting in a relationship because of the other person, just because you love them, it does not conquer all. That's a clear sign to move on. Love is not everything. You deserve everything leading up to the love and the love. So I'm not a believer in love conquers all. If he wanted to, he would. Yes, 1,000 million trillion billion times yes. And that goes for women too. If she wanted to, she would, because that is a two-way street. That is a big hello, yes, of where you stand in a person's life. So big believer in that. Never date coworkers. I have definitely been guilty of doing that in my early days, my younger days. And again, it's a fine line. I'm going to say, yeah, it's probably not a good idea. But I know people have met the love of their life because of work. So it's a fine line. You just got to be careful. I'm like this on the fence with that one. The friend zone. Well, there's so many different things with the friend zone. I've honestly dated people in my younger days. Well, actually, not even in my younger days, that I have friend zoned and I ended up dating. Because, and you guys already heard this story, so I'm not gonna, go too much into it, but like I had my hair extensions. I had no like physical attraction to them at first, but I friend zoned them. We did become friends, we hung out, and we just had so much in common and compatibility, and I loved hanging out with them that I unfriend zoned them. We ended up dating. So I feel like you can friend zone somebody and you just never know what's going to happen. You just really don't. So friend zoning, though, I feel like if you're not into somebody, you shouldn't lead them on, and you should friend zone them right from the get-go, just to not lead anyone on, because some people do get more easily attached than others more quickly. So if you're sensing that from somebody and you're just not thinking it's going to go any deeper, nip it in the bud. That's my take on that. So all right, let's see here. What's the dumbest thing you've ever Googled? So my 14-year-old is obsessed with Googling if something is like even a day expired. She will Google everything if it's a day expired. My Google obsession, and all my friends who know me, especially from like back in the day, growing up, I am a hypochondriac. I always think I've actually gotten better in my old age, but in my 20s and my 30s, and I still get it. I still do get a little bit now. Actually, Dan experienced it several months ago. I have anxiety, and I would always think I had a brain tumor or a blood clot, or I was having a heart attack. I literally Googled everything. People used to joke that I'm an MD. I have my Google MD. Like, literally, it was ridiculous. And I still do it. I think a lot of us are guilty of Googling symptoms and this and that. So the dumbest thing I've ever Googled is that, am I having a heart attack? Do I have brain cancer? Is it a blood clot? I actually did go to the hospital several months ago. I made Dan take me because I literally thought I had a blood clot in my leg. And I'll just be honest, I am 49. I started HRT, and I had a pain in my leg, and I don't know what made me think of, it was like a weird pain that I've never felt, of looking up, can you get a blood clot from HRT? And it said you can. So of course I freaked out. So I was like, oh my God, take me right now. He was making fun of me. We went, the doctors laughed. We all had a good laugh about it. I did not have a blood clot, but for my own sanity, I had to get it checked. So I was safe. I was good. So let's see here. Things that instantly make you judge someone. So these are ones that actually people have like sent in to me. Talking on speakerphone in public. It's funny because I was just walking to Publix yesterday, and this lady, as we're walking into the store, she was on speakerphone. Walks into the store, talking on speakerphone. It was so loud. Everybody was looking. It was so bizarre. I don't know if I'm going to judge you on it, but it's a little weird. Not returning the shop cart. Yeah, like, come on, don't be lazy. Being rude to servers. Oh my goodness. Or just anybody in a service industry. That is a big red flag, and that is an instant judging. And I think a lot of you guys would agree with that. Dirty fingernails. I'm torn on that one because, you know, a blue collar man, they're gonna have dirty fingernails, and that's okay. So I'm gonna say no. I would not instantly judge somebody by dirty fingernails. Again, I guess it depends where you are, the situation, but there's a fine line, I think, with that one. Wearing socks with sandals, somebody put. I think that's just a trend now. My kids do it. I've been known to do it. I'm not gonna judge someone, but I can see why some people would. So that's my take on that one. What's the biggest lie social media sold us on? Filters versus reality. This is what somebody messaged me, and it's true. So many people do filters nowadays. And I will admit, I was guilty of doing the Snapchat filters all the time. I loved them. I do not use them anymore. You guys see that I use AI for my promo stuff, for my podcast stuff, but obviously you guys see me in video and pictures. I'm not obviously doing any filters or AI, but I think for business promos or whatever, I don't see any harm in that. But filters versus reality, a lot of people do filters for their pictures online, and who cares if you're married or in a relationship? Who gives a shit? Because your man, your woman already knows what you look like. But in the dating world and the single world, yeah, God, so many people catfish nowadays with stuff like that. That I think it's huge, which leads me to like my whole Cocktails and Cupid thing, I have a spin-off of that, of a private group, and in that group I have it more refined, and it's a dating group, but I'm not allowing anybody to post photos. They have to do a raw up to 3-minute video introduction of themselves. And I think it just makes it more personable and real, like you're actually seeing this person talk. You know they're real. In the day of catfishing, you know, I think that it's a good idea to do. So, yes, a lot of filters out there. I agree. I was guilty of it a time ago, and I don't do it anymore. So, would you rather lose your phone or lose your wallet? I'm gonna say my wallet because I have Apple Pay. I have Apple Pay, so I'm gonna say my wallet. Give up coffee or wine? Ooh. I love my coffee, but I would give up coffee over wine. I'm too much of a wine whore. I'd give up my coffee in a heartbeat. Being single forever or dating your ex? Single forever. I would be single forever. No offense, Stan. This would be before if I ever met you, but nope. I would gladly be single forever than date my ex. Have no internet or no air conditioning. Coming from a generation where really even air conditioning was mainly just the window units that we had in each bedroom to cool us off. I could honestly, it's a toss-up because we went so long without internet. I really do hate social media, believe it or not. If I didn't have business, I could do without it. I think we just get so used to it and wrapped up in it. But internet, it might actually do better for my hypochondria and my Google MD. So I think I would pick have no internet over air conditioning. Let's see here. Okay. I was today years old when I learned, and I actually just posted this in the Cocktails and Cupid page, that there is no such thing as heat lightning. How many of you guys didn't know that either? My entire life, I would see like lightning at a distance, but didn't hear thunder. And I was like, oh, that's just heat lightning. We're good. Nope, it's actual lightning. It's just too far because you can't hear the thunder. So I literally just learned that a few days ago. So for any of you guys that don't know that or didn't see what I posted the other day, there is no such thing as heat lightning. Lightning with no thunder means that it's just so far away that you can't hear the thunder, but it's still actual lightning. I think it said like 10 to 15 miles away. And apparently you could see lightning up to 100 miles away. So there you go. There's your little science knowledge of the day. So, and that's really just that. Like that was like just like some fun stuff. I just wanted to do a little Cocktails and Chaos video because I really haven't done one. I've been doing so much of the Cupid stuff. So if you guys have any questions or topics that you want me to talk about, feel free, message me. If you want to be on a podcast to do it with me, feel free, message me. One more note, the I Dated a Narcissist podcast, I really do want to solidify a date to film that. So if you're interested, I've said this before, when I first posted it, I had so many people commenting that they wanted to be a part of that. So, and I've been dragging ass. I need to get on there and message all you guys, and I will. But if you want to be on the I Dated a Narcissist podcast and talk shit and compare stories of, you know, what you dealt with, and I don't use that term loosely. I don't call everybody a narcissist. I never in my life dated a narcissist until my early 40s. So I don't throw that term lightly. I never had experience with it until not that long ago. So this is true, dated a narcissist or even dealt with a narcissist. I would love to compare stories because I think we're going to have a lot of similar stories in what we dealt with, but I would love to hear what other people went through and how you finally left the relationship and healed, because I actually think that'll be good for a lot of people that are listening, because I know there's people out there right now that are in love bombing, narcissistic, trauma bonded relationship. I was in a trauma bonded narcissistic relationship. I know the agony of going back and forth and trying to break free mentally and get out and finally be done. So I think that would be a good for even people out there right now that are in that type of relationship. So if you want to be a part of that, I'm flexible with filming. I can put everybody that's interested in a group chat and we can figure out a day to do that. So message me for that. On that note, we are filming Golf Cart Confessions Thursday night. So got a lot coming up. Thursday night, Golf Cart Confessions. Friday night, Battle of the Sexes. So you guys all have a great Tuesday until Thursday. Golf Cart Confessions. Have a good night.